Okay, let's look at the exegetical process. We'll call it the expositional process. And if we start with the Bible, down here, here's our Bible. I believe there are three key steps in the expositional process. So first of all, we start with exegesis. Exegesis simply means to draw out the meaning. It actually is in the Bible. It's in John chapter 1 verse 18 where it says that the Son exegeted the Father. So he drew out the meaning of the Father. So exegesis is to draw out the meaning of the text. And that's the first stage of the expositional process. Once you do your exegesis of a particular text, it could be a whole book, which is what you're going to be doing with the subject complements, or it could be a passage of Scripture. Once you've done the exegesis of that passage, you then work out the theology of that passage. That's the second step of the expositional process. And having done the theology, you work out your application based on that theology, which is in turn based on the exegesis of the passage. It could be application, ministry, it could be another word we could use for this step. And then that is going to help inform our understanding of the Bible, and around we go again. So they're the key steps in the expositional process. And just to illustrate the difference between them, when you're doing exegesis, you're going to be dealing with particulars. Particulars. So in our case, we're going to be in the 1st century, which means we're dealing with the past. However, when you're doing theology, you're dealing with the general. Not the particulars, but the general. And theology is going to be timeless. So whereas here in the 1st century you're going to be talking about Paul and the Philippians, for instance, here you're going to be talking about God and believers down through the ages. And you know that you've got a theological principle if the statement that you write could apply to any believer at any time in any culture. If that's true, then you have a theological statement. Otherwise, you either have an exegetical statement or you have a homiletical statement. So theology will be general and it will be timeless. You'll be talking about God and believers. Over here, at the application stage or the ministry stage or the homiletical stage, you're dealing with the 21st century. So again, you're going to be dealing with particulars, just like over in the exegesis stage. So this is going to be present, and it's going to be personal. So here, at this stage, you would talk about God and us, and we and our. In our culture, you'd be talking about 21st century living, if you like. So the expositional process goes from the particulars of the text in its context to the general theological principles that derive from that text, and then back into the particulars of our current situation. So, how does this help us with our subject complements? Well, the subject complements you'll be doing will be exegetical subject complements. So they're going to be over here. So that means I want you to be talking about Paul and the Philippians, for instance, and I want you to give the contextual particulars of that situation. Whereafter the message that God had for the original readers at this exegesis stage. I don't want you to be talking about what God's message is for believers down through the ages, but rather what it was for those particular readers who would have been the first to receive the letter. Likewise, I don't want you to be talking about us or we, so no personal pronouns in your statements, no us or we, because the books weren't originally written to you, they were written to the Philippians or the Colossians or whoever it might be. So no personal pronouns. Also, it needs to be past tense. So the statements should be past tense, they should have particulars from the 1st century culture in them, and no personal pronouns. So that's the expositional process. And that's kind of the journey that we're starting on with these subject complements. We're doing the first step, the exegesis of the text, trying to work out what was the meaning of the original meaning to the first readers of a particular text.